In today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to buy an undivided interest and how you can profit from that knowledge. Stay with us. In this episode, I'm going to talk about what an undivided interest is as it relates to me and how I see it. And then we're going to give you the very formal definition of what an undivided interest is. And then I'm going to talk to you about how investors use this undivided interest as a strategy to make a profit. Beyond that, I'm going to talk to you about the average profile of an undivided interest seller. What do they look like? Who are they? Who will sell their interest in a property? And last but not least, we're going to talk about very specifically what are your rights as an undivided interest owner. And all of this stuff is going to be very interesting. It's a little known strategy. It's way, way, way out of the box. And you'll be all the smarter for knowing about it because one day you're going to come across it and you're going to profit from it because you saw it right here from your best friend, Mitch Stephen. So when I first typed out that I wanted to talk about undivided interests, everyone looked at me like, what the heck is that? Well, let me tell you, I didn't know for years and years and years and years, but I'm glad I know now because I've run into it so many times and profited from it so many times that I shudder to think how much money I could have made if I'd have known about it a long time ago. Here's the thing. My name's Mitch Stephen, and I've been buying a house about every 4 to 5 days for over 2.5 decades, okay? That's a lot of houses, and that's just the ones I bought. I ran into a lot of deals and was in a lot of negotiations that didn't work out. So I'm way up there. I have my 10,000 hours in this business. I probably have 30,000 hours or 40,000 or 50,000 hours. I don't even know. But because I've done this nonstop for way over 2 decades. So when I talk about these little niche-y kind of things, I get excited because I've done the routine things for so long that these things really turn me on. And I actually start to develop ways to move into these niches because they're so little known and they can be so profitable once you become an expert at exactly how they work. So what is an undivided interest? It's where you go in and you buy somebody's share of a property. It's pretty simple. It's not a formal definition, but I'll get to that in a minute. But let's just say there's 6 heirs, and you find someone who doesn't want to be part of that group, doesn't want to own that property, and wants to move on and wants to get out of it. And you say, look, I'll buy your 1/6 of your ownership of that property. If it's an acre, I'm not buying 1/6 of an acre. I'm buying 1/6 of the entire acre, an undivided interest in the entire acre. That means if I own 1/6 of the 1 acre, I can walk on every corner. I can walk in the middle. I can walk catty corner. I can walk the perimeter. I can do anything I want to on the entire 1 acre. Just got to be mindful. I'm not the only one who owns it. There's 5 other owners there, so I probably wouldn't want to build $1 million mansion on that 1 acre because I'd be benefiting 5 other people that didn't put any money into it. So we have to find a way to flip the tables. Why would we buy an undivided interest? Well, we'll get to that in a minute, but first I want to read the formal definition so we can get that out of the way, and then we'll talk about why you'd buy an undivided interest. The formal definition is not something I've memorized, so I'm going to read it off my phone. It says, an undivided interest is an ownership right to use and possess property that is shared by 2 or more co-owners. No individual co-owner has an exclusive right to any portion of the property. There's the formal definition. I like my definition better. It's a lot simpler, right? So what is an undivided interest and why would you want to buy an undivided interest? Well, number one, you'd buy an undivided interest when it's a no-brainer. So let's say there's this $200,000 house. Someone died and there were 6 heirs. So there's 6 owners to this property now. And you find the black sheep. One of those heirs wants to sell you his portion. And this happens a lot. And it's always some extenuating circumstance or some off-the-wall reason, but typically you'll get contacted by a black sheep. They'll want to sell you the house. they'll probably not tell you that there's 5 other heirs, and they'll be so naive to think that you'll just give them a check for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 for the house, and that they'll run off with that money, and you will discover later that there's 5 other heirs. It happens all the time. But we find out that there's 5 other heirs before we give people money. And we say, look, you don't own the whole house, but you own 1/6. And I've been talking to this person enough to know that there's extenuating circumstances. A lot of times, I don't know why it's happened like this, but there'll be drug users or addicts, and they just need another fix. And they'll sell you their undivided interest for $500 or $1,000. They're black sheeps. They don't have anything to do with the other part of the family. They really cuss that other part of the family. They want out of that part of the family, and they just want to sign their name and get some money for whatever reason. But a lot of times it has to do with drugs. And if you don't do it, someone else is going to do it. They're just going to keep calling, and they're going to keep talking to someone until someone gives them $500 or $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever it is. But they're going to do it. So it might as well be you. So do I want to own an undivided interest with 5 other people, me being the 6th, on a $200,000 house for $1,000? That sounds like a no-brainer to me. I mean, I don't know what can happen, but I'm only out $1,000, and I got a $200,000 house that I own 1/6 of. So it sounds pretty good to me. Then you start to learn there's things that you can do if the circumstances are right. You really can't do anything unilaterally or sell this property. You wouldn't want to fix up this property. You wouldn't want to add to this property because you only own 1/6 of it, right? But there are things to do. The first thing I'd be checking out is, where are these other heirs? How old are they? Have they ever shown an interest in this property? Does someone live in that property? Do one of those heirs live in the property? Is the property vacant? If the property is vacant and all the other heirs are like way out of town, like in another state, all of them, then I might take my 1/6 and just move in a renter and start collecting the rent. I mean, I have the right to occupy the house or rent the house just like the other 5, and I'm just going to do it. I also have the right to pay the taxes, the back taxes. I have the right to paint it or put on a new roof. I have the right to do anything that preserves the improvements from deteriorating. And if that's what I put my money into, then I also have the right to send those other 5 heirs their portion of what it took to maintain the integrity of the improvements that were already there. Now, this is where it gets kind of fun. If they do not give you their share of the maintenance money to maintain the integrity of the improvements, then you can foreclose them off. Now, most of the time, they don't even care about this property. You'll find 1 or 2 out of 6 really want to cause a problem or want to hang in, typically. You might strike a deal with them. I'll pay one $10,000 for her interest and another $14,000 for their interest. Now I have $1,000 to the black sheep, $10,000 to this one, and $15,000 to this one. It's $25,000, right? And I got a $200,000 house, okay? So you see, there's a lot of room to negotiate with these heirs because I'm looking at a $200,000 house, and I got what we call color of title from the one black sheep who was a heroin addict that sold me his interest for $1,000. It's called color of title. Before I met this man, I had no color of title in this house. There was me over here, and there was a house over there, and we were in no way related. But when that heroin addict sold me their 1/6 percentage of the house for $1,000, I now have color of title. I am associated with this property. I am part of the conversation, of any conversation that goes on with this property. It's called color of title. And so now I'm taking my color of title and using it as leverage to talk to the other 5 people. Now, how interested are the other 5 people? How savvy are they? How old are they? First thing I do is try to check out who are they, where are they, everything I can learn about every one of them. If they're all in their 90s, they're probably not going to be fighting over this house. If they're all in their 20s, they're probably going to want some money. So you just start to size up who they are, where they are in their life, if they're successful or if they're broke, and you start to get a feel for how you're going to negotiate with these 5 people individually. Now, if you've been watching these episodes at all, you know that I like to color code people. So if I ever get a chance to talk to any of them, I'll make notes and I'll color code them. Are they blues? Very charitable people? Are they yellows? Live for today? Are they reds and need a lot of numbers and graphs and charts? Are they greens? Greens, fiscally sound, financially sound, understands numbers Things have to be logical in the finance department. Okay? I'll start to code these people, and I will try to talk to each individual heir in their own language. And this helps a lot. That's a whole different subject, but you can find me talking about that on this YouTube channel. Just skim around for it, color coding. And don't be surprised if you end up just moving someone in because all the heirs don't care. They're too far away to care, and they're too old to care, and no one's really going to challenge you. They won't sign anything over to you, but they won't confront you either. So you just move in a renter and start collecting rent. Or B, you can strike a deal with each one of them individually and buy them out at some price that is worth it for you to own a $200,000 house. And that's how you use undivided interest. It's a way of getting into a property with hardly any money at all and then seeing what can happen. Because you have color of title, you can open up a legitimate conversation with these other owners and start expressing what you would like to see happen and see if you can't get it done. So let's slow down for just 1 second. If you find these kind of conversations interesting and engaging, and that there's a chance that these kind of conversations could make you a profit in the future, do me a favor and hit that like button and let people know that there's some real viable conversations going on around here. And also feel free to share it, because a lot of people don't even know this channel exists, and you can help with that by sharing right now. Also, if you haven't subscribed, of course, I think you're going to want to subscribe, because this is just the tip of the iceberg. I've been 25 years in this business, and I don't claim to know everything about anything. But I do know a lot about this business because I've just been in it every minute of every day for so long that I've had a lot of things happen to me, both good and bad. So there's going to be a lot of content. I'm sure I can help you avoid mistakes, or I can help you profit in areas that you've never even thought of before. So subscribe to this channel, and I will see you in the next episode right after I give away something to you. I would like to give away a free recorded call. Now, every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, me or my partner gets on the phone and we talk to about, between 25 and 40 investors from across the nation who have paid to be on a recorded call so that we can plug into their specific situation and A, help them avoid troubles and lawsuits, and B, help them maximize their profit. And these conversations go on a typical call for about an hour to an hour and 45 minutes. Our commitment is on that call that we answer every question before we hang up, so there is no time limit. If it gets past 2 hours, we might be begging for mercy a little bit, like if it's not important, can we push this to next week? But if it's important, you stay on the line, you press *2 to raise your hand, I can see your hand up, and we will get to your question before it's over. I want you to have an opportunity to listen to one of these phone calls so you can feel the tone and see the information and the value delivered. And I'm sure you'll see it. So just go to 1000houses.com/free-stuff and scroll up and down the homepage there till you see the giveaway that reads free recorded phone call. Click on that. It'll be digitally downloaded. You can listen to it whenever you're ready. And I think you'll see the value in that call.